Okay, we're back here on the research side of the International Training and Research Center. I'm here with Nicki Brose, who is the research manager of this side of the facility. And Nicki, you guys have been doing some studies and to dig in a little bit more detail about pocket percentages and where the actual pocket actually truly exists. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, what we've done is we actually went and surveyed a bunch of expert bowlers out in the field. We went with gold level coaches, we talked to professional bowlers, the people that you would go to if you were asking questions about bowling, and we asked them if a ball had hit the pocket based on a series of videos. Okay. And from there, we determined what entry boards were actually part of the pocket. So the pocket is is located at the 1 and the 3 pin, but there's a range, quite a bit of a range between those 2 pins. So where within those 2 pins is the pocket? And the study showed that between 15.5 board to 18.2 board, you're going to get people to say, yeah, the ball's in the pocket.
Okay, so like you said, that's a pretty wide range. So I'm assuming not all balls are going to strike from each different part. So you guys have been really trying to dig into what percentages based on where that part of the pocket it hit. So
yeah, exactly. So what we did is we took that and we broke it down even further, and we used our bowl score testing device, which is a ramp that moves at different angles and offsets into the set of pins, and and we mark score from there. So what we found is that at 17.5 board, regardless of entry angle, we combined all our entry angles together, you're either going to strike or leave a 9 count.
Wow, okay, so you say regardless of entry angle. So what was the range of entry angle that you actually used?
Our range of entry angle goes from 0 to 10 degrees of entry angle, and most bowlers are probably going to be on the lower half of that. So anywhere from 0 to 5 is really more common. 3 to 4 is probably the most common.
Sure, okay.
So what we did is we also looked at the percentage that you were going to strike, and we broke it apart into those 2 components, 9 count or strike. And at that 17.5 board, 85% of the time you're going to get a strike, no matter what angle you're coming in.
That's really interesting. So regardless of what the angle is, whether it's 0, 2, 4, all the way up to 10, if you are hitting that 17.5 board at the pins, then you're 85% of the time. Now, how about, take it almost a step farther? We know that if, 17.5 is pretty much high flush, so I would expect the results to kind of be like that. How about like just, if you're going to get 9, or, what are your chances of just at least leaving a makeable spare?
So if you're going to look at the range in the pocket from 18 to 15.5 board or so, about 88 to 90 to 100% of the time, you're either going to strike or you're going to leave that 9 count. So really, as you get lighter and lighter in the pocket, in the 16 and the 15.5 board, you're above 80% of the time you're either going to strike or 9 count. For example, at 16 board of entry, you're almost 50-50 split between leaving a 9 count or striking. Okay,
so what I think it's, initially, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what it's really what it's kind of showing me and thinking of it from a coaching aspect is that, and from a bowler's aspect out in the field, is that, if you can control the pocket and you can get your ball to end up between that 16 to 18 board range in controlling how much margin of error you have and just getting to the pocket, more than likely you're going to leave something you can make, which in the grand scheme of things is going to improve everybody's scores, right?
Exactly. Leaving that 1 pin is a heck of a lot easier to make than leaving combination spares.
Sure.
So with this shot, we're seeing a very high percentage of strikes. About 85% of the time, we're going to see strikes at 17.5 board. About 14.2% of the time, we see a 9 count left. So really, we're covering the whole spectrum of balls entering the pocket at 17.5 board, being either a strike or a 9 count.
Okay, so Nicki, that was really amazing stuff and really interesting. It's great to see, all the different amounts of data that you guys are collecting on something that we almost take for granted about hitting the pocket.
Mm-hmm. So I think within that range, you're either going to leave an 8 count, a 9 count, or a strike. And those 8 counts are your pocket splits. Those things, they're kind of bad luck, unfortunately, but it happens. But more often than not, you're going to leave a 9 count or you're going to strike. So hit between 18.2 to 15.5 in order to be the most successful.